The owner of a Vietnamese company that serves a banh mi like this should be arrested, and he was. Hi there, my name is Kevin, and I make honest and to-the-point narrated trip reports about flights and hotels all over the world. This is episode 139 on the channel's 29th airline, Bamboo Airways, going from Saigon to Bangkok. The full report is coming up in 10 seconds. Welcome to your semi-annual reminder from me to always leave plenty of time when driving to the airport in Saigon. We've got a doozy today, so it's surely going to be interesting. If you'd like to know the exact fare that I paid for my flight today, or my next 5 videos in queue, please check out that description below. Let's get right into it. In the early days of COVID, Bamboo Airways offered a status match, with which I received their highest tier of membership, called the First. Because of that, I checked in at the business class counter and had lounge access. While upgrades are offered in some cases, the business class cabin was today full, and so the very friendly check-in agent offered me the first row, which I politely declined since in the second row, I had the empty seat next to me. She let me know that it wasn't guaranteed to be empty, which I understand, and she proceeded to call out to her supervisor that she was blocking 22 Bravo for a CIP. Understanding Vietnamese came in handy today. By the way, just your friendly reminder that sponsored unbiased reviews don't exist, and so today you're going to get nothing but my own personal opinion, because this flight is 100% self-funded. I headed up to the Saigonnais Lounge, which I think I've shown you 4 times by now, so I'm just going to give you a quick peek around and a look at the current food on offer. That last chafing dish that you'll see was simply labeled Greek food. Tasty. The one reason that I do love this lounge though is because of the views. Since the airport here is relatively small, just sit in one spot long enough and you'll see a really big variety of airlines. In this 45-second plane spotting montage, there are 10, 11, or 12 airlines shown, depending on what you consider an airline. If you think you can spot them all, list them in the comments below. Alright, now on to the story of Bamboo. I'll keep it brief and split into 3 parts. FLC Group, a Vietnamese conglomerate, announced the formation of a new airline to support their hotels and tourism overall in central Vietnam. Over the next year or two, they placed orders with Airbus for narrow-bodies and Boeing for 787s, with memorandums of understanding for over 50 aircraft, with smaller firm orders coming later. In January of 2019, just in time for Lunar New Year, they began their operation and over the next few years grew to be Vietnam's 3rd largest airline. While they claim to have a focus in central Vietnam, their route map still makes it clear that the backbone of their operation are domestic flights to and from Hanoi and Saigon, with a few international destinations being added in the mix. The then owner and chairman of FLC Group, Trinh Van Huyt, just prior to the launch of Bamboo Airways, was declared to be Vietnam's 2nd richest person based on holdings in the Vietnamese stock market, with his Vietnamese assets totaling over $1.3 billion in 2016. Forbes Vietnam described his panache for taking measured investment risks at just the right time for being fundamental to his success. Here we can see our aircraft for the day. I think the livery looks a little bit juvenile, but anything is better than Vietjet honestly, and I do really like the fresher colors. Boarding was orderly with a separate priority line. Let's take a look at today's flight stats. We'd be taking off 14 minutes late and heading up to 34,000 feet for our 444-mile hop over to Bangkok's Suvarnabhumi Airport, landing just 2 minutes behind schedule. We boarded our 3-year-old A320neo, one of 6 in the Bamboo fleet. They currently have 30 frames in operation with a single 787 on the order books and almost 50 more narrow-body and wide-body aircraft with MOUs that will likely expire. And here we are, 22 Alpha. The fabric on the seats is already showing quite a bit of wear, and good God, they have to be some of the most uncomfortable seats out there. I know that they're based on the same Recaro model that I recently showed you in a Swiss video, but there's gotta be less padding here or something. The lack of legroom is probably not helping either. Bamboo Airways considers themselves to be a hybrid airline. From my experience so far, I'd agree. They've got full-service airline fares with low-cost airline seats and ultra-low-cost airline food. It started to pour just before pushback, so we're going to settle for a wide-angle shot today. Keep note that Bamboo has a policy that requires all electronics to be completely turned off during taxi, takeoff, and landing. The crew were blunt and short, effectively having to tell every single passenger individually to turn off their phone completely. When passing my row, the stern flight attendant pointed at my phone and said, "Off." Anywho, we'd be taxiing to the runway and taking off to the southwest before heading northwest up to Bangkok. The spool up and takeoff are up next, and don't let the rain fool you, it's beautiful once you get up there. They may not be my favorite airline, but they certainly do have a very photogenic wing and engine, so I'll keep it here for the grand finale. So, Mr. Billionaire, who makes all of the right investments at all the right times, suddenly registered to sell 170 million shares of FLC Group in January of 2022. The sale would have been equivalent to 24% of the group's total charter capital. His transaction was frozen by the Vietnamese equivalent of the SEC, and he was fined around $75,000 and banned from trading for 5 months. 2 months later, a warrant was issued for his arrest, charged with stock market manipulation, in part due to his alleged unregistered 2017 sale of 57 million shares of FLC stock. Since then, he and his sisters have been further charged with obtaining property through committing fraud. If anyone's interested, he does have a yacht for sale. Since then, the Vietnamese media has reported that an undisclosed investor began acquiring the company and restructuring the board of directors for the airline, trying to distance themselves as far away from FLC as possible. Next up, we had an elegant meal service. Drinks on offer were Coke, orange juice, and water. No Coke Zero, no coffee, no happiness for me. And then there's this banh mi. Honestly, I don't know how they can get away with serving crap like this to a plane full of Vietnamese. So yeah, that's Bamboo's story in a nutshell. I know this review has been dripping with sarcasm and a little bit salty. Thank you for putting up with it. No idea what the future will bring for them, and of course I omitted some details in the name of efficiency. If I was a betting man, and I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I'd bet that Vin Group was some way or somehow involved with the new acquisition. And with that, it was already time to get into our final approach. We'd be looping around and landing from the north. The parade of parked Thai aircraft remains a stark reminder that as much as things have improved in this part of the world, we are still nowhere near pre-COVID levels. And it kind of felt a bit like a Qatar Airways parking lot as we pulled into our bay. I told you before, the bots are coming. But unfortunately, no bots speeding along the immigration lines though. Alright, on to the flip-flop score. I know I packed a lot of information into this short video, but there was also a flight in there if you didn't notice. As much as I've been enjoying Vietnam Airlines lately, and considering that I never really had a problem with Vietjet, I don't see many more trips on Bamboo happening in my future. Uncomfortable seats, borderline rude flight attendants, crap food, what more could you ask for? That said, I do hope that you enjoyed this video today. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that you don't miss a beat. I'll see you next time from the Okura Prestige, Bangkok.